Rain doesn't fall in Seoul, it attacks. It comes down in sheets, in volleys, in something that feels almost personal, like the city itself is trying to wash away its secrets. Tonight, the Han River is swollen and black, and the lights of the Kwon estate blaze through the storm like a fortress refusing to surrender to the dark. Amina moves through the corridor on the third floor with the silence of someone who has learned that invisibility is survival. Her cart squeaks faintly, a sound she has memorized, timed, worked around. She knows which tiles echo and which ones absorb. She knows which security cameras have a 2-second lag when the motion sensor resets. She knows every corner of this mansion except one. The chairman's private office. The door is cracked open tonight. She stops. Her hand tightens on the cart handle. In 14 months of working inside the Kwon estate, that door has never been open. Not once. The staff joke that the room breathes on its own, that it opens for no one except the chairman himself and God, and even God would need to knock. But tonight, the latch hasn't caught, and a thin slice of warm amber light spills into the hallway like an invitation she was never meant to receive. She should walk past. Every rational thought she possesses tells her to look straight ahead, keep moving, finish the east wing, go back downstairs. But the door drifts open another centimeter, and something pulls at her, not curiosity, not ambition. Just the instinct of a woman who grew up poor enough to know that the things powerful men hide are usually the things that get other people killed. She pushes the door gently and steps inside. The office smells like leather and cedarwood and something metallic she can't name. One lamp is on. She moves to the desk, begins wiping the surface in careful strokes, and that's when she sees it, the compartment. A panel in the lower left bookshelf, slightly ajar, barely noticeable unless you are standing at exactly the right angle with exactly the right light hitting exactly the right edge. She crouches. Inside the compartment is a ledger. Not the kind kept for public accounts, this one is hand-bound. The page is dense with columns of numbers that don't match anything she has seen in the household expense record she occasionally processes for the estate manager. These figures are bigger, rooted through shell names she doesn't recognize, tagged with dates and port codes and a single repeated abbreviation, BSN. Busen. Then the phone vibrates. It is sitting inside the same drawer, face up, and the message appears before she can look away. After the Busen shipment, the chairman falls. The room goes very cold. Her lungs stop working for exactly 3 seconds. She counts them 1, 2, 3 because her body needs something to hold onto. Then she hears it. Footsteps, not the shuffle of another staff member. These are deliberate, measured, the footsteps of someone who owns the ground beneath them. She slides the compartment shut. She straightens. She grabs her cloth and moves to the window, back to the door, polishing glass that doesn't need polishing, her heart slamming against her ribs like it is trying to escape before she does. The footsteps pass. The hallway goes quiet. She waits 4 minutes before she leaves. The private dining room on the 2nd floor is reserved for the chairman's inner circle, and tonight it is full. Kwon Jun-seok sits at the head of the table with the easy authority of a man who has never once questioned whether he belongs in the room. He is 61 years old, silver-haired, with eyes that process everything and reveal nothing. He commands loyalty the way some men command fear, through a combination of precision and generosity, so perfectly calibrated that the people around him can never tell which one is actually operating at any given moment. To his right sits Min-yi. Park Min-yi is 44, lean, with the kind of stillness that reads as composure until you understand that it is actually control. He and Jun-seok have been bound together since they were young men running errands for the chairman's father, bonded not by blood but by the things they had survived together, the lines they had crossed together, the debts they owed each other and had never once spoken aloud. He laughs at the right moments during dinner. He pours the chairman's glass before it empties. He is the perfect right hand. He has been for 20 years. Tonight his eyes are elsewhere. Downstairs, in the narrow room she shares with one other staff member who is already asleep, Amina sits on the edge of her bed and writes in the small notebook she keeps tucked behind the loose panel under the window. She writes down everything she saw, the ledger, the shell names, the abbreviations, the message on the phone. Her handwriting is cramped and fast, and her hand trembles slightly but does not stop. She doesn't fully understand what she witnessed. She is not a financial analyst. She is not an investigator. She is a cleaning staff member who sends half her salary to her mother in Dakar and counts the days until her contract ends. But she knows what the chairman falls means. She knows that a man in that house is planning to kill the man who runs it. She closes the notebook. She does not sleep. Minyi returns to the office the following afternoon. He tells himself he is collecting documents. He tells himself it is routine, but he moves to the bookshelf before he moves to the desk, and the moment his eyes find the compartment, he knows. The angle is wrong. The panel is flush now, but it was not flush yesterday morning when he left it, he remembers, because he is someone who notices the degree of things. He crouches, opens it. Everything appears to be in place, but someone touched it. He sits in the chairman's chair and folds his hands and says nothing for a long time. Then he calls security. The footage from the previous night's camera sweep should show the East Wing corridor clearly between 10 and midnight. Instead, it shows 17 seconds of static at the exact interval that matters. A glitch. A clean, quiet glitch that tells him almost nothing. Except that it tells him everything. Someone was there. Someone careful enough to know about the camera lag, which means someone who had studied this house the way people only study a house when they need something from it. He pulls up the staff roster, cross-references with the cleaning schedule, and there, assigned to the East Wing 3rd floor on the night rotation, Amina Diallo, 14 months employed, unremarkable record. No complaints, no incidents, no reason to ever enter the chairman's private study. Minyi does not call for her. He does not alert security. He closes the folder and sets it aside. He decides to watch her first. If you're already gripped by this story, hit that subscribe button right now, because what's coming in the next few minutes is going to completely change everything you think you understand about this house. The hallway between the laundry room and the staff kitchen is narrow enough that passing someone requires acknowledgement. Amina is carrying a folded stack of linens when Minyi appears from around the corner, and there is no polite way to avoid him. She steps to the side, keeps her eyes down. Her pulse spikes, but she breathes through it, slow and even, the way she has trained herself to manage moments that could unravel her. "You," he says. She looks up. He is smiling. The smile reaches approximately nowhere near his eyes. "You clean carefully, don't you?" "Yes, sir." He nods slowly, as though she has confirmed something he suspected. "You must know this house very well by now, every room." "Only the rooms I'm assigned, sir." "Of course." The smile again. "Careful people live longer in a house like this." He lets the sentence sit there, fully formed, with nowhere comfortable for her to put it. Then he moves past her, his shoulder almost brushing hers, unhurried, and disappears around the corner. Amina stands in the hallway for 11 seconds. She counts them. Then she continues walking. That night, she is mopping the lower corridor near the East Service entrance when she hears voices from the adjacent room, not raised, not arguing, just deliberate in the way conversations become when people think they are not being heard. She recognizes Minyi's voice immediately. The other voice she does not know. The Busan shipment is being rerouted. New timeline. The security rotation is being adjusted. 3 of Jun Seok's personal guards quietly reassigned to off-property duties on the same evening. And then, a private dinner invitation, already accepted, for the chairman. The location is a waterfront venue in the city, the same night as the shipment. He will be away from the estate, away from his guards, at a table surrounded by people chosen by the man planning to kill him. It is not a suspicion anymore. She presses her back against the wall and stares at the ceiling, and tells herself to breathe. She runs the numbers the way she used to run numbers as a girl, when her mother would hand her the household accounts and say, "Tell me what we have and tell me what we owe." If she stays silent, Junseok goes to that dinner and does not come back. The man who runs this estate dies, the power shifts to Minyi, and in the reshuffling of a house midku, a cleaning woman who knows too much is a loose end. She dies too, maybe not with a weapon, maybe with a reassignment to somewhere that doesn't exist, maybe with an accident that nobody investigates. If she speaks, if she goes to Junseok directly, she has to explain why she was in his office, what she saw, what she understands, which means confessing to a trespass that could end her employment or worse. And if Minyi finds out she talked before the plan is neutralized, she is simply gone. She tries to leave. At 11:45, she goes to the East Service entrance with her bag packed beneath her cleaning cart, her passport in her jacket pocket, a story ready about a family emergency. The guard at the gate is polite, firm, and immovable. No staff departures after 10 without written authorization from the estate manager, who is unreachable tonight because the estate manager is at a private function with the chairman's extended associates. She turns back. The mansion closes around her like a hand. The study on the Upper West Wing is not the forbidden office. It is Junseok's secondary workspace, where he takes morning calls and reviews documents that don't require the gravity of the main office. Amina knows this room. She cleans it twice a week. She knows the sound the door makes when it opens, and she knows the lamp he always leaves on, and she knows that he is sometimes there late when the rest of the house has quieted. She knocks, there is no answer. She opens the door. He is there. He is standing at the window with a glass of something dark, watching the rain, and he turns at the sound of the door with a calmness that suggests he either expected her or expects nothing to surprise him anymore. He looks at her for a long moment. He does not reach for the phone. He does not call out. "You should not be in this part of the house," he says. "I know." Her voice is steadier than she deserves. "I need 1 minute." "You have it." She crosses the room to the middle, stops at a careful distance and looks at him directly. "Don't go to Busan tomorrow. Don't go to the dinner." The silence that follows is the kind that is weight. He sets his glass down. "Why?" "Your right hand is not loyal." Something moves behind his eyes. Not surprise, something older than surprise. Something that has been sitting in a quiet room waiting for a specific piece of information to make it complete. His jaw tightens once, then releases. He studies her face the way she imagines he studies contracts and maps and the faces of men across negotiating tables, reading for the thing beneath the thing. "How do you know this?" he says. "I was in your private office 2 nights ago. The compartment was open. I saw the ledger. I saw the message on the phone." She says it plainly without apology because the time for managing his reaction to her trespass is less important than the time they don't have. The shipment, the security rotation, the dinner invitation, it's all coordinated. It's happening tomorrow night. He does not move. "And you came to me," he says slowly, "instead of running." "I tried to run. They don't let staff leave after 10. Something that is almost a smile crosses his face and disappears. "No," he says, "they don't." He picks up his glass again, turns back to the window. "Go back to your room, Amina. Don't speak to anyone tonight." "Are you going to?" "Go back to your room." What Amina does not know, and what the chairman does not tell her, is that Minyi has been a question mark in Junseok's mind for nearly 8 months. Not a certainty, a question mark. A series of transactions that didn't align. A conversation recalled at the wrong angle. A loyalty that had recently begun to feel like a costume. He had suspected betrayal the way experienced men suspect things, not with panic but with a quiet, sustained attention that waits for confirmation. She has just given him confirmation. More than that, she has given him the operational detail he did not have. The Busan shipment specifically. The dinner venue. The reassigned guards, which tells him exactly which members of his inner security circle Minyi has already flipped. This information is not just confirmation of betrayal. It is a complete map of the coup. He calls 2 people that night. Both calls are under 4 minutes. Both are conducted in a language not commonly spoken in the house. By morning, he has a different plan. The dinner does not happen at the waterfront venue. Junseok sends regrets, a scheduling conflict. His assistant explains to the host, who passes the message along to Minyi, who receives it in his car on the way to the venue and sits very still for a long moment before making 3 calls that are no longer answered. Minyi walks into an ambush at the Busan waterfront. Not from law enforcement, from Junseok's inner circle, the undisturbed half, the men whose names Minyi had not known to compromise. They are waiting at the shipment location with the kind of patience that only comes from receiving instructions 12 hours in advance from a chairman who had already adjusted the game board in the night while everyone else slept. Before we get to the final moment, and you need to see this ending, make sure you've liked this video and dropped a comment below telling us whether you think Amina made the right choice. The best comment gets pinned. They bring Minyi back to the estate before dawn. He does not struggle. He is too intelligent to struggle at the wrong moment. He is the kind of man who conserves that energy for a moment that might still offer leverage. He is escorted through the east corridor, past the laundry room, past the staff kitchen, and it is in that narrow hallway, the same hallway where he smiled at her 24 hours earlier, that he sees her. Amina is standing at the far end, a folded stack of linens in her arms, motionless. He stops walking for exactly 1 second. The guards nudge him forward. But in that second, his eyes find her, and the calculation runs across his face in real time, the missing detail filling itself in, the picture completing itself, the variable he hadn't accounted for suddenly acquiring a name and a face and a mop. He says nothing. He doesn't need to. She watches them take him around the corner, and then she stands in the hallway alone and breathes. The chairman's main office is exactly as she imagined it, formal, spare, designed to make whoever sits across from the desk feel the geometry of power. She has cleaned around the edges of it for 14 months but never sat inside it, and she is not sitting now. She is standing near the door, hands at her sides, while Kwon Junseok dismisses the last staff member and closes the door. The silence in the room is enormous. He stands behind the desk. He looks at her. The rain outside has softened to something quieter, a steady, even sound, almost gentle after the violence of the previous night. "You saved my life," he says. She doesn't answer. There is nothing to add to that sentence that would improve it. An undocumented cleaning worker in an estate she should not have been exploring, he continues, and his tone is not condescending. It is precise, clinical, the tone of a man categorizing an asset, who saw something she should not have seen, who held that information under threat, who tried to leave and couldn't, who came to me anyway. He pauses. Most people in your position would have chosen silence. "I'm not most people," she says. "No," he studies her, "you are not." The pause that follows stretches long enough to feel like a decision being made. "I have no interest in keeping loyal people poorly compensated," he says. "You will be moved out of the cleaning rotation. You will receive a new contract by the end of the week. You will have quarters that are yours alone." He says each thing as though reading from a prepared list, which makes her understand that he has already decided all of this, possibly before she even walked into the room. "In exchange, you work for me, directly, not for the estate, for me." She looks at him, "And if I decline?" His expression doesn't change. "You won't." He is right, and they both know it. Declining is not actually a door that exists in this room, in this moment, in this house. She understands now, with a clarity that settles into her chest like something cold and permanent, exactly what has happened. She traded her invisibility for her life. She traded her life for his, and now she belongs to the equation. "You're protected," he says quietly. You're watched, and you are valuable to me. He lets that land. That is not a small thing in this world. You saved my life, she says. He lifts an eyebrow. Now you belong to me, she repeats. His own words return to him. That's what you mean. He looks at her for a long moment, and then something shifts in his face. Not warmth, not exactly, but a recognition, a recalibration. The look of a man who has just understood that the peace he has acquired is more interesting than he initially priced it. Get some rest, he says. We have a great deal of work ahead. She turns toward the door. Behind her, the rain falls on Seoul. And somewhere in the city, in a room she will never see, Min-yi is sitting in a chair that he cannot leave, thinking about a woman with a mop and a notebook, and the specific, terrible courage of someone who has nothing to lose and chooses to act anyway. The door clicks shut behind her. She stands in the corridor and closes her eyes for exactly 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Then she opens them and walks forward into whatever comes next. That ending just changed everything, and if you felt it, you already know what to do. Subscribe right now, because episode 2 drops soon and you do not want to miss what Amina discovers about the chairman's real plans for her. Like this video, share it with someone who needs a story they can't put down, and tell us in the comments, did Amina just save herself or walk into a bigger trap? We read every single comment. See you in the next one.